gentlemen, I am finishing a tweet to Dan Orlovsky because Dan Orlovsky is saying something that I have been saying, particularly for you Colts fans, for years. The Colts O-line is way overrated. I mean, way overrated. Like, holy cow. And I forgot my mic. You'd think that I would have my mic, but I have been doing this show once or twice. Well, I don't know, for a year and a day, for crying out loud. I forgot my mic. That's why you watch this show, because you know I'm not as polished and as vanilla as my boy Greenberg and the rest. But hey, Dan Orlovsky, the Colts have protection issues. I've been saying this for years. This is why, truthfully, at some point we will become the go-to football show. Now, we will. Once people smarten up, they'll realize what we tell you is pretty much going to happen when it comes to, I don't know, stuff that's real. Stuff that's real. Like, you can read, Colts signed Quentin Nelson for $80 million. He's the best guard in the business, really? Or you can watch, why do the Colts go in the Wildcat and Quentin Nelson's over here and they run over here? Can you explain that to me? I don't know. But Orlovsky says something, and I know this is a national show, but this is a message to all of you out there. Watch for yourselves. We got a little media guy who never played a sport in his life. His name is Zach Kiefer. He writes for The Athletic. He's a terrific writer. Smart kid. I taught him in college. I had a class coaching a basketball that I ran for Kevin Sampson. Nice kid, bright kid. But doesn't know jack about football, but because people go on the cheap in media, they give this guy a gig. And he's a nice kid, really nice. But I criticize these guys all the time because they just parrot what others say. And the idea that Quentin Nelson changed the identity of the Colts, really? That's what was his tweet from the moment he stepped in here. They were 52-34 without Quentin Nelson. During Quentin Nelson's time here, I mean, I don't have it exactly, but it's 41-41-1. Now, what do you want me to tell you? What's the identity? These are the code words you need to learn when you watch football. He changed the identity. What's the identity? What was the identity? That's easy to say. And he's look, all these writers are just trying to make a living. But as a former coach and somebody that actually pays attention, I'm trying to teach you all, pay attention a little bit to what is actual. In your town, look, I don't follow across the board the NFL like you do the local team. I don't. But in your town, check it out. Seriously, check it out. Check out what is being said based on what is actual. Dan Orlovsky, who everybody seems to think knows a lot about quarterbacking, I do, until he got a little bit arrogant, he was terrific. But Orlovsky said the Colts have protection issues both in personnel and in plan. Well, if you listen to 90% of the other guys, they're just regurgitating. And it's the same in your town. I mean, I bet you if I opened up this for phone calls, I will bet you that it would be, in my city, they keep telling me blah, 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 right? I mean, that's what they do. In my city, they say this, and it's not right. Pay attention. I mean, we're all football fans. You know, the normal football fan now, because of fantasy football, can tell you damn near more about what's going on with their team and their players than anybody. So just pay attention a little bit. I get a kick out of it. Second thing, you know what? I'm reading the Bible a lot, and I feel bad. Mea culpa. I've been hard on this kid, Rodrigo Blankenship, the kicker for the Colts. I said, leave his backside, Megan, in Houston. Don't do that. I'd like to see the kid get another chance. Yeah, I know. I got to start living it. You know what? The kid missed. If he's too far gone, then you got to cut him for his own good. But I know this. Rodrigo Blankenship worked his brains out. He was at a kicking school all winter long. I guess it'd be winter. What would it be when your season ends in, spring? I don't know. Down in Alabama with a friend of mine's son. And he was a great kid. A great, great, great kid. So anyway, that hit me this morning. I hope the Colts keep him. That hit me this morning. It really did. Like, man, all right? Pay attention for yourself. Like last night, all right, I'm going to get into this in a minute. But before I get into it, Ryan, are we good with playing the clip of, I can't believe, I honestly can't believe that the fans of Seattle did this. Let's play it, Ryan. That's unbelievable. That's the Russell Wilson when he was introduced. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's asinine. I'm not one of those that says, well, it's disrespectful. Shut up. That's not me. But him being booed after winning a Super Bowl, going to 2 Super Bowls, being one bad offensive coordinator play call away from winning 2 Super Bowls in that city. And oh, by the way, that isn't Pittsburgh. They don't have like 5. That isn't New England. They're not going 1 for the middle finger. I mean, that's Seattle where they have 1. Uno. I don't know how to say 1 in Serbian. I wish I did. I used to. The brain fogs. But I'm just telling you, come on. How can you boo that man? And by all accounts, correct me if I'm wrong, but that man right there, Russell Wilson, was involved in so much good stuff. So much great stuff in the community. I get it. You know, I had people last night, front of the jersey over back of the jersey. Really? That's what you got? That's what you got. You can't sit there and root like crazy for your team and yet not boo the greatest quarterback in your franchise's history. Front of the jersey versus back of the jersey, man. Like, all right, man. All right, man, you're right. You're right, man. Yeah. You know, ridiculous. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it's one of those deals where you go, oh, what is wrong with you people? Isn't that like the liberal capital of the world, non-California division, where it's all about love and inclusion? Yeah, okay. Man, oh man, it does not matter. It doesn't. It doesn't matter what walk of life. The lying, thieving, most tolerant of us all will always expose themselves. Let's talk about Monday Night Football last night. Look, 20 seconds to go. I want to put up a couple things from last night. Can we put up that first Warren Sharp clip where he talks about, you know, I don't know, minute 11 on the clock, needing a field goal, settling for a field goal. Oh, I don't know. Is this the right play? Look, I will say this to you. All right? Everybody got fooled. Peyton Manning got fooled. Shannon Sharp didn't even know where the hell he was. I got fooled. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I realized, what? 20? Oh, they're going to kick it. Now, Brendan McManus has never made a kick past 61 yards. Now, he made a 61-yarder. That would have been the second longest kick in the history of the NFL. See, here's my thing. Let's put up the next one from the great Warren Sharp, shall we? Who's getting less great because he won't respond to my text. Can we put up the next one about the kicker? I got to tell you, man, there he is. That's what you're banking on. $242 million. All right, that's a little unfair. It is. I'm sorry, and I'm going to give it to you from a coach's perspective. Whenever I hear a guy on television, particularly in basketball, that didn't coach, start talking about why a guy didn't get the last jump shot, I always go to this. A coach reads the eyes. A coach, and this is going back, I sat with Bill Parcells and Belichick and Coach Knight. That's 3 of the good ones. And they all talked about how each game is organic. Right? Just because something happened yesterday doesn't mean it's going to happen today. Just because something happened in the last game or you did something well or something happened in the first half doesn't mean it's good. You got to continue to read your team. And maybe Nathaniel Hackett read his team and said, yeah, well, we're not getting this done. We're not going to get the first down. Maybe in his mind, you can talk about analytics all you want, but his analytic mind, he was hired to do a job. He was hired to do a job based on his experience, his knowledge, his innovation, his relationship building, all the things that you get hired for. And while we do point, at least in Indianapolis, to two guys in the booth that are the analytics guys, a coach sometimes has to go with his own analytics and read his team. So Hackett, I would assume, read his team and said, yeah, this ain't going to get a first down, ain't going to happen. So let's run it down, kick a field goal, and get the lead. Risky. Gutsy in a way, stupid if you want to go another way. I don't know if it's gutsy. I don't know if it's stupid. I know it's what he read. And to his credit, he said, look, I'd do it again. Hope we make it next time. Here's my deal with it, and this is from not a coach, but a fan. I'll ride and die with Russell Wilson. I've said this forever. If you're going to give me guys with the ball late game, Russell Wilson is one of two or three. Roethlisberger was always in there. He's retired. Mahomes always. Now maybe Josh Allen, but not yet. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. But I'm putting Wilson in that category. So when they started running it down, it totally fooled me. I'm like, what are you doing? Call timeout. And then you know what? Then with 20 seconds to go, they said, all right, we're going to kick it. Certainly had plenty of leg, no question about it. Had a practice attempt, and he just missed it. Now, the easiest thing to do is to say, well, we paid $242 million. Well, you know what? If he makes the kick, that $242 million was pretty good. Pretty good, right? I mean, they did. He got him down the field, and they kicked it. I'll ride and die with Russell Wilson, though. But again, this is just my thought. He reads his team. You sit in a huddle, and there are times where you read a guy who's your best shooter and you know he's not making his next shot. And if you don't know that, like I'm kind of a savant with those things, bad at yelling too much at players, bad on social media, unhireable as a head coach, but there ain't nobody out there that can read the situation better than me in basketball. And you're like, nah, okay. It's one of the reasons even to this day I think our teams at Bowling Green are like fifth ever in like game-winning situations because you read the team. That guy, I know he's our best shooter, but he ain't ready. Maybe he knew what they were doing was not going to work against what the other team was doing. I don't know, but that's what he read. And if he just did it because he felt like, then he's a bad coach. The eyes never lie, baby, particularly late in games. They never, ever, ever lie. But anyway, good for Geno Smith. Geno Smith was terrific. Oh, my gosh. Geno Smith was great. That's being overshadowed a little bit. He was terrific. Can somebody explain to me why would anybody want to coach Nebraska football other than the money? Other than the money. And I'm going to go through this a little bit. The money's great. Like I always said to people, hold on here. You're complaining about coaching guys to push a ball across a line. You're complaining about coaching big guys to put a ball through a hoop for millions of dollars? You're complaining about this? Well, there's more to it. I know there's more to it. Go dig a ditch for a week. Go work in a steel mill for a week. You know what I mean? Like, go do that for a week. See what happens. See if you wouldn't rather be coaching. That's the way I look at it. My family was cops and teachers. My dad got up at 5:30 every morning, would come back with all kind of stories as he was the principal, vice principal, teacher, whatever, for 50-some years at a school in Gary, Indiana. He'd come back with great stories. Me, I talk. Coaches, get your headset on, let everybody kiss your backside, let everybody boo you. Either way, you're making millions. Who would want to coach you? Let me go through some things. Do you remember the name Frank Solich? Frank Solich won a national championship. Frank Solich was a diminutive man that was a longtime assistant that the folks in Nebraska did not think was good enough for their job. That is the truth. Frank Solich went 58-19. 58-19, but he was little. I'm telling you, this stuff matters. He was a little guy, and I said it at the time. What a mistake. 58-19. Frank Solich has then gone to Ohio University, and oh, by the way, they've named a field after him there. So they hire a big, strong guy with a big reputation, Callahan. Remember old Callahan? Callahan came over from the Raiders where he had gone to the Super Bowl. A couple years later, he gets fired. But Bill Callahan comes in, and he's the guy. Big, strong guy, great talker, blah, blah, blah. Looks like what Nebraska football should be. Couldn't coach a lick. 27-22. Then they get smart and they hire a real football guy. Bo Pelini comes in. Bo Pelini, real football guy from a real football family in Youngstown. Bo Pelini's brash. He's not Midwest nice. He doesn't look like the mailman. He doesn't look like the guy you'd sit at a bar and have a beer with. He does, except it would be a bar probably with two bookies in the back. And it'd be Milan's Pub, where we used to go to in Gary, Indiana. He had a buzz to get in because they never knew if someone was coming in to kill somebody. True story. Plus, we used to go to Milan's. One time we did see a murder. Different story, different time. Well, we think we saw a murder. We saw a guy come in, bloody, and he was across the street about an hour and a half later, dead in a body bag. But we didn't do it. We were just sitting at the bar. Marty got his shotgun out and got the guy. A different story, I'm digressing here. So Pelini comes in, and all Pelini does is go 67-29. Now, here's the difference. So that's 9 more wins than Solich and 8 more losses. That's how they looked at it. Wasn't even as good as Frank Solich. So let's go since Pelini. Guy named Barney Colton, 0-1 as an interim. Mike Riley, this is a true story. Mike Riley comes in, and I am broadcasting the Nebraska-Michigan State game from Nebraska, and we got Mike Riley coming on at halftime. So Mike Riley is sitting between me and Dave Fleming, who's the announcer for the Giants, one of my dear friends. And we're interviewing Riley, and Dave goes, "What do you think?" I go, "That guy's got no shot. I've known the Big Ten since I was a child. I've been around the Big Ten coaches since I was a kid. You know, I don't brag about it, I guess, anymore, but I used to go out to dinner with Paterno and Knight. Any big coach that came to town, Knight and I went and met him and hung out. 19-19 was Mike Riley. That wasn't good enough. Scott Frost comes in 16-31. I don't know, guys. I don't know how you're looking at it, but I'm looking at it as, what are you doing at Nebraska? Why would you want to go there? I mean, we've said this before. Nebraska is one of the great football powers ever, but you got to cheat in certain ways. Tom Osborne could be a saint, but Tom Osborne had a board, and on that board said was a point system about criminal behavior, misdemeanor. If you got to like 4 points, you basically had to commit 6 felonies or 1 murder. You weren't playing. He literally had that, at least according to one of my assistants who played basketball at Nebraska. Tom Osborne, look, how did he get all these guys out of New Jersey? I don't know. But he had a criminal board. Seriously. And if you go back and look at the Lawrence Phillips of the world and the rest, there's all kind of criminals playing for Tom Osborne. It's unbelievable. But he won like crazy. The field is named after him and became a senator. I speak truths, peoples. Why would you want the job? I mean, money's great. You're not winning the Big Ten, although you are in the easiest division in the Big Ten. People say, well, Urban Meyer's going to take the job. Yeah, don't be so sure, man. Urban's no dummy. Let me tell you what Urban does, and this is from a conversation he and I had a long time ago. Urban is very, very smart about the jobs he took. When he took over the Bowling Green job, he came in my office. I was a basketball coach. He was assistant at Notre Dame. Mike Bray knew us both. Mike said, Urban's going to come see you. I said, beautiful. Urban said, hey, Dan, I heard you go to all the football games. I do. They got talent? I said, they do. They got real talent. They got this quarterback, Josh Harris, that somehow, some way, they're not playing. They're playing a kid named Sam. He's a nice player, but he ain't Josh Harris. They got these wide receivers. The coach is afraid to come out of his office. This is a good job with players. I don't know what you're looking for, but with players, this is a good job. He took the job. They were players. He goes and follows a guy in Utah named McBride. McBride, players, 5 and 7. He goes after Ron Zook to Florida. Now, anybody that knows Ron Zook knows, hey, man, there's players there. Smart. Ohio State, you go to. Florida, you obviously go to. But Urban is very, very smart. Very smart. They offered Urban a lot of money to go to a couple places. I remember he told me about UCLA and he told me about Texas. I don't see him going to Nebraska. In fact, I would bet anything you'd want that he's not going to Nebraska, and I may lose that bet. Look, I don't know. But I know this, Urban is very, very, very grateful to the folks at Fox and loves his job, loves Reggie and loves Leinart and loves Quinn, loves it. Rob Stone loves it. So I think you get that out of your head and you look at guys like Matt Campbell, which would be great. Brett Bielema. Maybe those guys, I don't know. But I don't know why you'd want to go there if you're in a situation where you're making enough money and you're winning enough, because that seems like a pain. There's a name I would call it, a pain in the what, and it starts with a P, but I won't say it anymore because Meg's watching my cuss. This is a bad break, but this is also going to save Marcus Freeman a little bit in his first year. Quarterback's out, Tyler Buchner. Tyler Buchner's out, AC joint or PC joint, whatever the hell it is, in your shoulder. Now, let's be honest. Notre Dame was a mess last week. Notre Dame, with a player's coach, had no chance of winning. Well, they had a chance of winning the game, but no chance of certainly covering the spread or playing well. The only chance for Notre Dame to beat Marshall last week was if the tradition of Notre Dame actually mattered to these players. It didn't. The coach is a player's coach. So you're coming off a big loss, even though a loss where you kind of got to win. And frankly, the coach and the staff weren't good enough to get him ready for Marshall. Marshall, as I told you, has dudes. So now the quarterback coach or the quarterback at Notre Dame is out. And he's a good player. I mean, he can run, he can do a bunch of things, but he's out. Done for the year. Now they got this kid, Drew Pine. And Drew Pine had an impossible task coming in late in that game against Marshall. Now, if you're at Notre Dame, you're supposed to wake up the echoes, right? You're supposed to do the things like bring a team back in the end when the star quarterback goes about the business of getting hurt. I mean, you're supposed to do that, but he didn't. And he didn't look very good. All right? You didn't. Here's the deal. You have got to understand a couple of things. One, Notre Dame's season relative to what Notre Dame's standards are is done. They have 2 losses. They're independent. They don't have enough wins coming unless, whatever. But 2, this can save Marcus Freeman because people aren't down the line, when they have maybe 3 or 4 losses, people aren't down the line going to remember. They're not going to remember that this team was ill-prepared. They're not going to remember that this team couldn't bounce back from a loss, that couldn't handle a little bit of adulation. Hey, man, you guys played great. We're going to have a great year. You lost to Ohio State, but no, they couldn't handle that. And Freeman needs to grow up as a coach right in front of your eyes and be demanding when you have success. He didn't do it. Notre Dame, Tyler Buchner, gone. Drew Pine, in. It ain't great, but it saves Freeman at least in year 1. Colts kicker, Rodrigo Blankenship. I said this yesterday, and I like the kid. And I don't want to be harsh, because everybody's harsh on him. We got some idiot in the Indy Star writing about, he's in his own head. This guy hadn't been in a locker room other than ask a question ever. I don't know that. If you're a professional kicker and you're in your own head, you got to go away and become something else. But he's giving me a headache. The whole thing is giving me a headache. He is the classic millennial. We write puff pieces on him. He comes in skater shoes where they got those Heelys and his little skinny jeans. And I got to tell you, I said this yesterday and I'll say it again. People, and I actually got a response from 2 professional athletes yesterday that were listening to my afternoon show. When I said, after a video of this guy coming in on his little Heelys and his skinny jeans and his little ducky backpack, I said, grown men are in a locker room. Now, you all are not going to understand this, and you're going to call me bad names. But tough blank, Megan, see, grown blank men are in a locker room beating the living you-know-what out of each other. And you're going to rely on this guy with his little Heelys and his skinny jeans and his little millennial stuff? No. I'm sorry. I want McAfee. I want Pat McAfee. I want Adam Vinatieri. Tough, rough dudes. McAfee comes off as the nicest dude in media, and he is, but that's a bad boy. Did you see what he did to that Denver kick returner? That's a bad boy. That's a tough dude. Chips on the line. I want McAfee. I want Vinatieri. Vinatieri goes out and kills things all the time. He's like this hunter Look, I don't care if it makes you millennials mad. Soft males are killing our society, and I'm not having it anymore. Time for men to be men. Not obnoxious, not criminal, but just be men. That guy, he's giving me a headache. I hope they keep him. He's a nice kid. I hope so. But man, he's giving me a headache. And then he write articles. He plays with Legos. Oh, look at his bridal shower. Not his, but his wife's. I don't like that I said leave him at Houston. Shouldn't do that. Heelys. Is that what they're called? I'm riding my Heelys to the game. Look at me. One thing Indianapolis has, and this is why Indianapolis is the softest freaking teams, either in the NBA or in the NFL. They do a bit on fashion before every game. Oh, look at Miles Turner, what he's wearing today. He's wearing like capri pants that like my son or my daughter would wear. Great, great. We need more men in Indy. That's why I may be the mayor. We need more men. Speaking of men, 3 guys, Sark, Saban, and Fisher, all with different worries. You know, the guy on the right won, the guy on the left lost, and Fisher, he seems like he always loses. Yes, I'm talking about Jimbo Fisher. This is coaching, okay? This is what you got to try to figure out in coaching. And I'm going to give it to you right now. So, Jimbo Fisher, he lost to App State. They're evaluating everything. I mean, everything is on the table, right? Including whether Jimbo Fisher should call the plays. That's right. That's his quandary right now. His quandary is evaluation. Are we good enough? What are we doing in our meetings? What are we doing in our practice? What are we doing in our walkthroughs? What are we doing at our meals? What are we doing with study table? What are we doing with our therapy? What are we doing in our weight training? Finally, what are we doing with our game day preparation? What are we doing with our in-game adjustments? What are we doing with our personnel? I'm telling you. And then it's each guy that played in the game and each coach gets evaluated. It's a daunting task, but it's one that Jimbo Fisher has to do. That's his call. Next call, and this is the most interesting one. Sarkisian. Sark played the brakes off of Alabama, right? The whole country saw it. I don't have the ratings, but everybody watched it. And this is something you probably do in your business. This is something Bob Knight was great at. Urban Meyer, fantastic at. I think I was pretty good when I had good enough teams, when everybody wasn't hurt. The rat poison. You know what the rat poison is. Didn't Nick Saban teach us about the rat poison? We got rat poison around here. That's what Sark's worried about, even in a loss at Texas. So, the rat poison, example, Notre Dame all week after losing to Ohio State. They weren't ready to play, Marshall. I told you we won a lot of money. I did. You did. We did. Rat poison is now trying to infest Texas football, and Sark knows it. Man, you guys are going to be great, man. You're going to learn from this. You'll get them back. You'll get Alabama. You played the break. Bad call. Rat poison. And on a campus like Texas in football, Alabama in football, Kentucky in basketball, Indiana in basketball, the rat poison isn't from the media. It's from the dorm room. It's from the apartment complex. It's from the club. It's from the bar. It's from everywhere. Great job, man. Great job. No. Sarkisian knows he's got to temper this. And then, of course, there's old Nick Saban. Nick Saban has warned and warned and warned against rat poison. All right? Nick Saban now got the best of both worlds. What does that mean? He won the game. How good is that? Don't care how you won it. You won it. And he gets to rip his team for being undisciplined. Yeah. Gets to tell them nice things about being resilient. But how many penalties? How many muff plays? How much stupidity? And he gets to show them all there. And you know what else he gets to do? And this is the best. He gets to set up competition in practice. Yeah, he does. He gets to set up competition in practice. He gets to set it up. You did this, you're going to have to earn your job today. That's the best part of it. That is. He gets to set up. Whoa. No. In Indiana, it used to be you were on the red team. Red team was first team. It's switch your shirt. And I'd be thrilled when I got to switch my shirt. You're on the red team. The white team was the second team. Hey, no. You switch over. Ooh. 3 different men, 3 big-time programs, 3 different quandaries, 3 things to watch. It's going to be interesting. It really is. I thought it was fascinating. Sarkisian the most. Because he's in his first year, there's a balance between uplifting, there's a balance between challenging, and there's a balance between saying, hey, man, you lost. I'll give a daggone what you did against frickin' Alabama. You lost. We're Texas. You lost. There's an L, 0-1, a loss. You should beat Alabama. We're Texas. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. My top NFL quarterbacks from week 1. And all I can do, fellas, ladies, is watch the games and tell you who had the best performances. I'll tell you that. And, man, who are the, I guess I put in here, disasters. I would say what players need to be better. Let's go that route. What players need to be better? We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Tom from Outkick 360. If you couldn't catch the show yesterday, here's what you missed.
Instead of, all right, get on the ball, let's do something. Let's get it going. Out of bounds, set up a play quick, run the play, get more yards. People are all over, well, it wouldn't have mattered. It was so fun. I bet if you got 7 yards on the other play, may have been good from where it was, the way the ball was hooking. Would have been a lot closer than that. They gaffed it big time. That's a coaching error. That's a management from the quarterback error, who also had another problem. I know they're claiming the clock wasn't reset at one point by Jerome Boger, who, by the way, also terrible.
Always. And
terrible in this game. But it was very disappointing to see that late game management from a guy in Mike Vrabel who's typically very good in clock situations and late game management.
Why are they more concerned with moving the ball laterally than vertically? It makes no sense for a kicker.
It's a very simple premise. I've never seen a kicker say, you know what, I want to go further out.
We're discussing the sports topics you care about from every angle. Catch me, Chad Withrow, and Paul Kuharsky each weekday afternoon, 3 to 6 Eastern, right here at Outkick.com. Stay with us on the Outkick Network.
Check out Outkick.com and never miss an episode of Tommy Lahren is Fearless. But if you did miss an episode, here's what you missed. Yesterday was the 21st anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks, the deadliest day on American soil since the Civil War. And as much as Ilhan Omar and her ilk would like to pass it off as a day where some people did something, it was in actuality a terror attack carried out by radical Muslim extremists. It was coordinated, it was motivated, it was tragic. Yesterday was also the anniversary of another September 11th. September 11th, 2012, the day we lost 4 Americans in Benghazi. Ambassador Chris Stevens, retired Navy SEAL Tyrone Woods, retired Navy SEAL Glenn Doherty, and diplomat Sean Smith. At any rate, yesterday, in remembrance of both September 11th tragedies, I tweeted this. I didn't mention Hillary. I didn't mention Obama. I didn't place blame for either attack on anyone. But yet, for some odd reason, the liberals sure did get pissed off. Are y'all confused? Tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on Outkick.com, where I sit down with Border Patrol agent Art Delcato to break down what's happening at our southern border.
I got to tell you, I can only go, ladies and gentlemen. I don't go by what you guys go by, okay? You guys go by, well, you know, my fantasy team, or you guys go by your past. When I give you lists on Tuesday, I give you what has happened on the field. It's the only thing I can go by. I don't care. Do I care what happened last year? I'm looking. No, it says I don't. No, it really does. It says I do not care what happened last year. That is odd. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you my top 5 quarterbacks from this weekend. Number 5, and he should be up closer, Jameis Winston. Look, Jameis Winston was 23 of 34. He threw for 269, 2 touchdowns. Here's the deal. This is what a quarterback should do. Are you ready for this? And you're going to disagree with this. Or maybe you're not. I don't know. They were down 16 in the fourth quarter. Now, when does a quarterback really make their money? You know, in the fourth quarter, the great Tom Moore, offensive coordinator, to Peyton Manning and a bunch of others, legendary NFL coach, said one time, it's players, not plays late in the game. See that guy right there, Jameis Winston? Player, late in the game. All he did was throw 2 touchdown passes, drive his team down for a field goal. They made the field goal, and he gets a win. Players, not plays. Now, there are guys with better numbers. There are guys on your fantasy team, and you're going to say, oh, they were great. They were great. Hell, Baker Mayfield had more fantasy points. Matt Ryan had more fantasy points. Great. But you know what neither did? Neither got the win late in the game. Matt Ryan had plenty of chances. Didn't get it done. Jalen Hurts was pretty good. He got it done, but he wasn't as good as Winston. I'll go to number 4, Kirk Cousins. I don't want to hear it. No, I watched Kirk Cousins the other day. I did. I watched Kirk Cousins. He was terrific. In fact, Kirk Cousins was so good that the Green Bay Packers never really stood a chance. Same kind of deal for Cousins, right? I'm looking at it right here. 23 of 32, 277, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You know how you, as a AFC or NFC North team, you know how you beat Green Bay? You don't turn it over. You don't make dumb mistakes. Victory favors the team, making the fewest mistakes, a wise coach once said, named Bobby Knight. And that's the one, or there's a lot of things I got from Coach Knight, but that's one of them. Don't make mistakes. Threw for over 275 with 2 touchdowns. And I mean, he's in there and he's doing all the things quarterbacks can do. And frankly, Green Bay never stood a chance. And Green Bay doesn't lose very often to teams in their own division. But Kirk Cousins was terrific the other day. I mean, he wasn't kind of good. He was really good. And I got to tell you, I was a little bit surprised. I'm not the biggest Kirk Cousins fan, but I am a Ryan Grigson fan. And Ryan Grigson is now second in command with the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm not surprised that they had some toughness to them. Number 3, and this kid, well, he's really good. He's really good. You're going to notice a theme here. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert led his team to a win, divisional win. They got the win over Oakland or L.A., and I'll give this to you in a minute what the deal is there. But let me go through Justin Herbert here. You ready? Justin Herbert, 26 of 34, 279, 3 touchdowns, interceptions. See what I'm doing here? I understand that you can throw an interception and still have a good game. Look, Matt Ryan wasn't the reason the Colts lost, I don't think. A lot of other or tied, I guess. But I'm telling you right now, that guy, Justin Herbert, was terrific. He was. Controlled the entire deal. I got to go back to Thursday night for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Allen. Now, look, Josh Allen threw 2 interceptions, and he threw them basically in a row. But Josh Allen did everything you want a quarterback to do to start a season on the road in a high-leverage game. That's a baseball saying. Josh Allen, 26 of 31. Missed 5 passes against Aaron Donald in that defense, 297 yards. You know what else Josh Allen did? 10 rushes for 56 yards. Josh Allen literally led, pulled, cajoled, started, whatever you want to say, the Buffalo Bills on Thursday night to a victory over the defending Super Bowl champs. That's what he did. That's what he did. So, Josh Allen, as great as he was, no. He was not numero uno in the Danny D rankings. Numero uno is bump-a-da-ba, bump-a-da-bump-a-da-ba, bump-a-da-ba, bump-a-da-bump-a-da-ba. No, not Geno Smith, although Geno Smith is 1A. That's right. Geno Smith was great. Geno Smith was fantastic. Geno Smith probably should be in here, but he's not. He had a great first half. Geno Smith's on a prove-it deal. Patrick Mahomes is on a believe-it deal. Patrick Mahomes, numero uno, baby. And there is no debating. I don't care what anybody grades Patrick Mahomes out. Think about it. So Tyreek Hill leaves, and everybody's all, oh my God, because when idiots talk, we listen in this world. And let's be honest, look at Tyreek Hill. He's an idiot. But when he talks, we apparently listen. So Tyreek Hill immediately starts disparaging a little bit Patrick Mahomes, and the morons in the media pick up on it. And now Mahomes, who's been nothing but a stand-up guy, great player, great citizen, great role model, great quarterback, whatever you want, has to answer because, well, an idiot's talk. It's the old Peyton Manning when he said about Vanderjagt, a liquored up kicker. Yeah, I got some liquored up kicker talking bad about me. So that's what Mahomes. So what does Mahomes do? Oh, let's read, shall we? 30 of 39, 360 yards, 5 touchdowns, ran the ball for 5 more yards, and was just the dominant player in a game that, frankly, actually, for a first game, mattered a lot. It did. There are questions about Patrick Mahomes. There were questions about that offense without Tyreek Hill. They were on the road. Arizona, remember Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray got mad. Kyler Murray took all his stuff off social media related to the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray was such a joke, maybe is such a joke, maybe he's changed, I don't know, that I don't care if they took it out, they had to put a 4-hour study thing in because the dude didn't work hard, period. Say whatever you want. He didn't work hard. That's why they put it in. So what does Mahomes do? Big game, lot to prove both sides. You know what happened. Boom! Boom! Patrick Mahomes whoops him. Just slaps him all back to Glendale. Yeah, back to the golf courses, back to the deserts, back to the bars, back to the clubs. Just slaps the entire city of Glendale / Phoenix / the entire state of Arizona. Just slaps them. Gets on the plane and goes back to Kansas City. It's beautiful. It's beautiful what he did. No, it wasn't kind of good. It was absolutely beautiful. And I, ladies and gentlemen, am here for it. I'm sorry, I am. I'm absolutely here for it. I don't want to hear about it. I got to tell you, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to, I call them the disasters. Now, they're great guys, and they're not disasters, and I feel bad about naming it that. I do, but hey, I did. I named it that, and then I read the Bible this morning, and I felt bad about it. What can I tell you? Let's put it this way. Guys and positions that have to get better. Number 5, Kyle Pitts. Now, this isn't fair. Kyle Pitts is a tight end for Atlanta. I'm watching at Florida, Kyle Pitts. And I go, wow. Whoa. Look at this guy. And then I heard him interviewed. And I'm like, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. I really like this guy. Holy cow. Now, this is one of the things that I don't like. He's got a bad quarterback. Marcus Mariota, yeah, I don't know. But Kyle Pitts should be able to do more than 2 catches for 19 yards. Now, here's what I don't like about putting Kyle Pitts on here. Kyle Pitts is on my fantasy league. So I've all of a sudden become a fantasy geek, right? I don't like you. I don't like you. You're on my fantasy. No, I don't like you. No. I don't want to be that guy. But you know what? I am that guy. So Kyle Pitts, I apologize for being fantasy wonk guy. I do. I feel bad about being little creepy fantasy guy. I swear to God, I will not show up in your mentions. I promise you I will not. But I got to tell you, we all need you to do better. And this should be higher. This should be, again, this is one of my fantasy guys. But I don't know if you watched, but Derek Carr was awful. Derek Carr was horrendous. Like, I don't want to say tragically bad. That's making too big a deal about it. Horrendously, ridiculously, absurdly. Are those words? I don't know. Derek Carr threw for 295 yards. Derek Carr missed 13 of his 35 passes. Derek Carr threw not one, not two, but 3 interceptions and a couple, one before. And it's just ridiculous. Every time the red zone showed me Derek Carr, you know what he was doing? He was throwing the ball to the other team. Now, I saw Derek Carr last year, and a lot of you Indy fans did too. You saw Derek Carr come in here, and he controlled me. I was sitting in the stands, and he was telling me to shut up. And this is in Indy. He was great. I became a D. Carr believer, but he was awful. And I would bet you money if he were a real guy, and I've always wondered if he's a real guy. I don't know. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I hope he is. But if he's a real guy, he knows, ladies and gentlemen, that he was a mess, right? He's got to know he was a mess. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. They're playing a monster game against the Chargers. It's his chance to show the young buck, Justin Herbert, just who the gunslinger is. Harumph! Harumph, harumph, harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy. Watch your ass. It's from a movie. Anyway, man, Derek Carr. Next, NFL kickers. NFL kickers. I've already talked about one of them, and I'm going to get to him again. But NFL kickers are starting to give me gas. And when I get gas, the whole house knows it. That's right. The whole house knows when Double D explodes here. You give me a few conies of sacrificial orange and a 6-pack of Strohs, and the whole house knows that Double D was out last night, baby. 15 missed kicks. 15. We had overtime missed kicks. We had overtime missed kicks where you could win the daggone game. We had all kind of crap. We had some great kicks. We had a 50-yard field goal for the Bengals to win it. I'm sorry, not the Bengals. The Cleveland Browns to win it. We had that. Yeah, we had a 51-yarder to win it by the Steelers, Boswell. Yeah, we had that. But 15 missed kicks. Now, I don't know about you, but I watched kickers kick at preseason, at training camp, and I got to tell you, they're good. Like, one of the drills is they hit the crossbar. That's a drill. Like, I don't know how far they go back, but they were 30, 40 yards, and they're trying to hit the crossbar. They either hit it or they just missed it, at least the time I was watching Blankenship and this kid Verite. For the Colts, this kid Verite should be in the league. I don't know if he can kick it straight, but he can kick it far. Holy cow. But anyway, 15 missed kicks. So I asked myself, why? Why, damn it, why? Why are we missing so many kicks? And I don't have the answer. I don't. I do not have the answer. But I'm texting Joe Thomas, trying to get him on the show this week. Anyway, yeah, the offensive lineman. I got a lot going on here. You think that this and this can just work 2 hours and not be all over the ice? You're crazy. But anyway, even Evan McPherson, he of the greatness, he of the, hey, look, in the Super Bowl, I don't need to hang out with my team. I don't need to. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch. All right, listen to this. The best kicker was Justin Reed. Safety, that's not true. He did go 1 for 2. And then Butker came back. This is how good kickers are. So this Butker kid comes back, right? This is what I expect out of kickers. Can only take 1 step and drills a 48-yard. I don't know what to tell you. You got McPherson. You got Boswell missing kicks back-to-back. You got Bullock. You guys know this in Nashville, missing from 47 yards. You got my man Blankenship missing from 42 yards. You got a 63-yarder from the kid Koo at Atlanta that got blocked. You got yesterday, 64-yarder. Hey, look, kickers, let's go. Let's go. See, there was a time when 63 yards, Tom Dempsey, was it, man. And those of you old enough like I am can remember sneaking downstairs to watch the halftime highlights of Tom Dempsey, and he had half a foot. He did. He had half a foot in a special shoe, and he kicked straight on 63 yards. Now guys can kick from anywhere, but apparently they just can't make 15 and 14 games. Let's go. On an NFL Sunday. Speaking of kickers, my guy Rodrigo Blankenship, I've already talked about him, but I said he's given me a headache. I want him back on the Colts. I want him to straighten this out. But the fact of the matter is, and I'm using him for any other athletes, if it is in your head and you can't get it straightened out, maybe it's time to do something else. In Indianapolis, staying with kickers here, Adam Vinatieri is regarded as the GOAT. He will be a Hall of Famer. He's the most clutch guy ever. I mean, you remember the kick in the snow for New England, 2-game winners in the Super Bowl? What more do you want this guy to do? Well, in Indy, we wanted him just to make a couple simple kicks. In his last year, he was like 62 years old. He was like 42. But he kept missing. The Colts started losing. Instead of 7-0, they were 5-2. They didn't make the playoffs. I want this kid to get right. I do. I want him to get right. But if he ain't right, he got to go. You're going to make a lot of money doing something. He's a smart kid. But daggone, the kick cannot immediately off the foot go that way. It's got to go that way. Maybe it hooks. Maybe it slices. Slice, hook, yeah. But it can't go to my living room all the way from freaking Houston. Can't do it. Won't have it. Can't do it. Rodrigo, I used to tell players this. Go to the bathroom, go in the stall, clean yourself up, and let's go. Wipe your backside, clean up, let's go. If there was a bidet in there, I'd tell them, get that going, clean up, let's go. Then I would tell guys this, and this is horrible, right? Coach, man, I'm in a funk. I got to tell you what to do. 2 things. 1, cut your hair. Clean yourself up a little bit. Dress nice to school the next day. Make yourself feel good. Look good. And guys would do it. And I say the second thing is this. Lay in your bed. Get away from everybody. Before you come over to a game, lay in your bed, turn off the lights, and just think about your performance. Just think about what you got to do. Yeah, everybody wants music. Everybody wants to go out there, shake hands, all that kind of stuff. No. Clean yourself up. And it doesn't have to be cut your shave, even if you don't need to. Wear a nice, maybe wear a jacket. Dress nice, better jeans. Clean yourself up. Just one day before the game, or the day after, just clean yourself up. Feel good. And, now we would be like, well, you can't tell players how to dress. You can't tell players how to shave. You can't tell players how to cut their hair. Yeah, bite me. Yeah. And inevitably, I had a kid, Lenny Mattel. I can't wait to see Lenny this weekend. It's sad circumstances, but I'm going to see Lenny. And we always talk about it. Coach, best thing you ever did was tell me, clean myself up, lay down in my bed, visualize, just think about how I'm playing. Well, that's what Rodrigo needs. Maybe it's deeper than that. I don't know. But that ain't bad. Lastly, my man, going back to Thursday, where are you, Cam Akers? You were a mess. Like, holy cow, you didn't block anybody, you didn't play with any urgency, you didn't play with any heart. And I was against you in fantasy football. That's right. Yeah, I was against you. Thank you for being a total train wreck. Man, there's video out there of him just saying, yeah, I'm not blocking guys, and watching his quarterback get smashed. And good for Sean McVay. I'm not surprised. But good for Sean McVay, man. He sat him. Ain't putting up with that crap. Not afraid of you players. You don't play well? Let's get somebody else in there. Henderson, let's go. But he was awful. He was a disaster. Now, that guy was legitimately a disaster. I don't like saying guys are disasters, but that guy is a disaster. Hopefully he gets it straightened out because, I'd like to see him get straightened out. But daggone, man. Kyle Pitts, Derek Carr, NFL kickers, Rodrigo Blankenship, and Cam Akers. Let's go. Yeesh. That wasn't good. When we come back, I got thoughts on a couple of things. One, ladies and gentlemen, is the new #1 team in the college football world as the road to Indiana University winning and getting into college football playoffs is ongoing. An update, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't put this in the rundown, but an update, ladies and gentlemen, on Aiden O'Connell from Purdue on his Heisman. I got you another dark horse. If it ends up being these two teams in the college football playoffs, it'll be unbelievable. I got you a dark horse in the college football playoffs. A quarterback gets booed. College quarterback? Oh, my God. They're just children. And did you know this? Brian Stelter joined Harvard, and Steph Curry wants Cap back. Why is everybody run to getting Cap back? Colin Kaepernick wasn't good when he was supposed to be good late in his career. But it gives you a measure. Well, I'll get into it when we come back. Steph Curry getting political. Breaking news, Jerry Jones just said Dak Prescott has a real chance to return within 4 games. That's breaking news. Also, you don't want to miss it. Clay Travis joins us, the boss. Talk about cleaning up. Talk about getting your hair. How's my hair look? Did I shave? When the boss is on, baby, we all got to sit a little straighter. It's like if Tom Brady's on your team. Sit up a little bit, fellas. The boss is coming at 10:30. I got some thoughts on my Hoosiers, on my Boilers, on college football, who's number 1, who's number 2, my sleeper pick, and good for Brian Stelter. I'm going to be at Harvard in 2 weeks. Can't wait to run into him. Have a chat.
Hey, it's Hutton from Outkick 360. If you couldn't catch the show yesterday, here's what you missed.
It's a weird game, and then I come away from it. I saw that news. I think, really? Hendon Hooker was the offensive player of the week in the SEC? Because Tennessee missed a number of opportunities in that game, and they just refused to put Pitt away. The Jalen Wright fumble, the muff punt. If they just catch that punt up 7, you feel like they're at midfield, and they're going to get a first down or 2, and the game's probably going to be iced at that point the way Pitt was playing offense.
Is this the slowest they've played in the second half?
Oh, I think there was a concerted effort to slow some things down, which I applaud. I mean,
they talked about it a lot, but even Heupel said, we're going to play fast, but playing fast relies on first play working.
We're discussing the sports topics you care about from every angle. Catch me, Chad Withrow, and Paul Kuharsky each weekday afternoon, 3 to 6 Eastern, right here at Outkick.com. Stay with us on the Outkick Network.
Check out Outkick.com and never miss an episode of Tommy Lahren is Fearless. But if you did miss an episode, here's what you missed. So I'll be honest with you guys, I don't really care about the British monarchy, the royal family, their weddings, their children, any of it. We Americans won a pretty big war back in 1783, so we wouldn't have to care. However, the passing of Queen Elizabeth late last week was heartbreaking for the people of Great Britain and for the world. She was the embodiment of grace, class, and tradition. And whether you believe in royalty or monarchies or any of the pomp and circumstance, you'd think for one freaking day liberals could help themselves from being total and complete a-holes, but no. Opinion writers from the New York Times, Atlantic, and New York Magazine openly celebrated the death of Queen Elizabeth last week. One writer from New York Magazine, Terhaka Love, even wrote, "For 96 years, that colonizer has been sucking up the Earth's resources. You can't be a literal oppressor and not expect the people you've oppressed not to rejoice on news of your death." Tune in tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern on Outkick.com, where I sit down with Border Patrol Agent Art Delcato to break down what's happening at our southern border.
The name of the show, Don't At Me. Thanks for joining us. Been a great day so far. By the way, no IR for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, Jerry Jones just said, can be back within 4 games. Good for Dak Prescott. I'm rooting for Dak Prescott. I don't really care about the Dallas Cowboys, but I root for Dak Prescott. All right, the AP poll came out, and I don't like the fact that the Hoosiers aren't on it. No, I'm serious. I don't like it. I don't like it even a little bit. Like when I stop talking and stare, I look like my Uncle Roy. I never liked looking like my Uncle Roy. I really liked my Uncle Roy. My Uncle Roy was awesome. He's a lawyer and a judge and used to get tickets fixed for me all the time, and Gary is fantastic. I love my Uncle Roy. But when I looked at him, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to look like you, and now I look like my Uncle Roy. Son of a... All right, here we go. Georgia jumps into number 1, but let me ask you, 1 through 25, do you see the Hoosiers? I do not. The Hoosiers are 2-0. Last I looked, number 25 got beat 49-3. Is that the discrepancy between 1 and 25, 49-3? Is that the difference in college football, like right now? Like 24 can't beat App State at home with more NIL money than they have since. Number 21 lost to Alabama, but went out of the poll, into the poll. College football has a weird ranking system. I think we would all agree. But where are my Hoosiers? I want to know, where are my Hoosiers? My Hoosiers are 2-0. They beat Illinois. Illinois, by the way, crushed Wyoming and beat Virginia. I'm going schedule to schedule here. How about they also beat the Vandals of Idaho? That's right. The Vandals of Idaho are on the goal line getting ready to beat Washington State. At Washington State. You don't come into Bloomington, ladies and gentlemen. You just don't. And beat the Hoosiers. Not this year, pal. Not as the road to the college football playoff continues. And remember, you heard it here first. Continues this week against Western Kentucky, one of the higher scoring teams in the business. But I don't care. Hoosiers should be around it. They should be sniffing it. But they're not, and I'm not happy about it. Aiden O'Connell update you want? Aiden O'Connell, the Purdue quarterback, 15-17, 2 million yards, 5 touchdowns against, it was against Indiana State. They won 56-0. They got a big one this week. You don't think it's a big one, but mark my words. Syracuse at home against Purdue is going to be a monster. I watched Syracuse the other night. My peeps up here, Jared and Lee and Tegan, my wife, Lee, they're all from Syracuse. Lee's legendary softball coach, but you all know that because I only talk about her every day. But anyway, Jared and I are watching the Cuse game because our guy, his guy, my new guy, Eric Coley, is a safety. And the Big E, as I call him, when he comes over here, is a blast. They're athletic, Syracuse. There shouldn't be in this. They beat UConn, the worst football team in the world, and they drubbed them. But you know what? They also beat Louisville. Syracuse is a team to watch. That game against Purdue is a sneaky good one, I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now, very sneaky good game, Syracuse against, who the hell are they playing again? Purdue. Aiden O'Connell goes for the Heisman. But let's look here. Alabama down to number 2, rightfully so. Ohio State, I don't think Ohio State looked great early, but Butch Jones knows how to coach. But here's a couple of things that I'm fascinated with. Number 1, Texas being in, I already discussed that. I suppose. I mean, I get, hey, you played number 1 tough at home and you're Texas and you lost, but hey, all right, maybe you lost on a bad call and no safety call, I don't know. You see the team right here, number 7? You see that? Don't make any mistake about it. I could see an Indiana, Southern Cal, college football playoff. I'm being a bit facetious with the Indiana part, but I was talking to Sean Salisbury. Sean Salisbury, legendary actor. We loved him in Benchwarmers. Sean Salisbury, legendary quarterback. We loved him at USC and a variety of NFL teams. Sean Salisbury, legendary analyst of both college and professional football. Sean Salisbury is a USC alum, former starting quarterback, former number 1 quarterback coming out of high school in the country. He told me this as an alum. When you look at what USC has, they, as alumni, aren't necessarily expecting it, but they kind of are, to quote David Spade in Rules of Engagement. They kind of are expecting to be in the college football playoff. Let's look at it. Fresno this week. Okay. At Oregon State. Arizona State, then Washington State at home. Where's the loss there? If they lose there, then they're a fraud. They should not lose any of those 4 games. Then it gets interesting. Then you got to go to number 14, Utah, who, by the way, started out at number 6. Then you got to go to Arizona, who's been a bit of a surprise team. Colorado may be the worst team in the world. At UCLA, and then Notre Dame comes in. Not the hardest schedule, ladies and gentlemen. Not the most difficult to get to a college football playoff. I'm not saying they're gonna, but I'm saying this. Caleb Williams is pretty good. Really good. No, really good. Jordan Addison from Pittsburgh, remember him? Biletnikoff winner, he's out there. Let's see what he's done this year. 15 yards per catch, 2 games, 12 receptions, 226 yards. I'd say he's doing all right. Do yourself a favor. I don't know what your betting angle is, but don't sleep on USC. Now, look, the USC-Stanford game was a mess. We know that. I think this week it's like somebody against Washington on ESPN. Come on. Don't sleep on USC. Did you see this out of number 4, Michigan? Michigan started the season. Is it going to be McCarthy? Is it going to be McNamara? They like the MCs at the beginning of their names in quarterback. Who is it going to be? Well, apparently, Jim Harbaugh made his decision. It's J.J. McCarthy. Now, I got to tell you, this feels like to me, tell me if you agree with this. Tell me if you agree with this. This feels like to me a lack of loyalty. Now, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it feels like. Why does it feel like a lack of loyalty, Dan? One thing doesn't mean to the other. Yeah, I know. But I got to tell you, Cade McNamara beat Ohio State last year. Well, it's not just the quarterback. Yeah, I know it's not. But he was the guy. Started 16 straight games last year, beat Ohio State, and you don't want him? All right. Yeah, I don't know what Cade McNamara is going to do. I don't know if you transfer. I don't know, I have no idea. But I will tell you this. It feels wrong to me. Not saying it is. Hey, Jim Harbaugh knows more about quarterbacking. He's forgotten more about quarterbacking than I'll ever know. But doesn't it feel a little bit sort of kind of wrong? Doesn't it feel like if it's that close, tie goes to the guy that saved your career? Doesn't it? Sort of? Kind of? Like, let's be honest. Let's just be honest here. Harbaugh doesn't beat Ohio State last November. He doesn't win that game. Where is he as a coach right now? Heck, now he's 4th in the country. Now he's got that whole we haven't beat Ohio State off his back. We haven't been to the college football playoff. We haven't won the Big Ten title. All that is off his back. It'll come back with a loss. But if you feel it's that close, I'm not saying he should have done it. I know he should not have done it. He should have done what he did, pick the best guy. But it just feels to me, a little bit squishy. You know what I mean? A little bit icky. Like this nose right here. I'll tell you one thing you'll never see out of me is nose hair. Mark it. You'll never see bushy eyebrows and nose hair. That's right, you won't. All right, let's look at this list further. Growing up, it was always the Big Ten, which was actually in football the Big 2 and the Little 8. It was Ohio State, Michigan, every year, whatever. Always. Keith Jackson on the call. And it was awesome when they played because the game took like an hour and a half because everybody just ran the ball. Woody Hayes is running it. Bo Schembechler's, everybody just running it. So I look at this and I say to myself, are we back to the Big Ten being 2 good teams and 12 others? Let's be honest. You can love Mel Tucker all you want, but you don't really buy Mel Tucker. Oh, man, here comes the lovely Lee Ross with a cup of coffee. She loved me long time. don't you? You do.
I do.
Yeah, love me long time.
Make sure you're caffeinated.
Thank you. I must be caffeinated. I must have juice. But anyway, look, all right, I know Mel Tucker's got to be in there. They start out, everybody laughs, but their quarterback's no good. Penn State, Penn State might end up being good. It's hard to win in Happy Valley or Weird Valley or whatever the hell they call it. It's a weird place, by the way. It's very odd. Very, very, very odd. But anyway, it's a weird place. But, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it maybe sort of, I don't know, the Big Two and then everybody else? It feels like it. What's Wisconsin? Now, going into Madison, what stock is down again today? Going into Madison is hard. Iowa, no offense. Nebraska already fired their coach. Illinois lost to Indiana. Indiana, I don't know. Purdue, well, they do have the Heisman Trophy winner, but hey, I digress. But it feels like this is 2-12. Now, unfortunately for the Big Ten, the two are in the same division, so they can never play in the Big Ten championship game, which would be the highest rated Big Ten game in the history of the Big Ten. But they can't do that. But it just has that feel. Like I'm going through the Big Ten, Indiana, Maryland, Rutgers 2-0, Northwestern, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Purdue, Nebraska. And any of those get you hot in the crotch? Not really. Big Ten, for all of its bluster, for all of its money, hasn't really changed since 1978. It hasn't. Oh, man, and there's the proof right there in the pudding. It is. Hey, did you guys see this? I don't know if you saw this, but during the purge of the, CNN, during the great CNN purge, all right, Brian Stetzler, what the hell is his name? I always get it wrong. Stelter got the axe. Now, I got to ask, why was Brian Stelter? Why was he even involved here? Like, what is this guy doing that made anybody want to watch him? But I guess people do. It seems like people do. So here's what happens when you're a Libby. When you're a Libby and you get the axe, other Libbies feel bad for you. So who is picking up Brian Stetler? Harvard. That's right, Harvard. Harvard is picking up the great orator. Harvard is picking up the great, I don't know what else you call the dude. I don't know. Whatever he is, they're picking him up. That's awesome. Good for Harvard. You know, I have a stepdaughter that goes to Harvard. I love going to Harvard. I do. Call me weird, but I like it. I like it a lot. I like hanging out at Harvard. I do this. I'm weird. I talk to different people because I think people that go to Harvard are interesting. So I talked to a guy, he's a homeless guy. If you've ever been to Harvard on Harvard Square, you've seen him. Older guy, wheelchair, beard, gray, and he's always writing. So I asked him, I go, what you writing? And he didn't really want to talk to me, but he did. Book. I go, really? All right. Well, here's the deal. What are you writing a book about? My life and stuff. Okay. The stuff he had written there in this book, he didn't tell me what it was. I just snuck a peek. Literally on a note page, I mean, not one single space. It was boom, 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 boom. You know how you an old typewriter, double space, single space, all that crap? Maybe you can do it on a computer. I don't know. Not one single space, not one. Awesome. Awesome, dude. Now you want to talk to me. I don't want to bother him. But every time I'm there, I give him $10, $20, and he looks at me, and you can tell he doesn't want it, but he does. And I'm fascinated by Harvard. Now, the politics of Harvard, I don't really get into. I don't care. You know, you go to Harvard, you know what you're getting. Brian Stetzler he got a fellowship discussing the threats to democracy. Now, I would argue this. Threats to democracy are an illegitimate media. Threats to democracy are a biased media. Threats to democracy are people like CNN that shade the truth, that are afraid to report things that don't follow that agenda. A media with an agenda is a danger to democracy. It is, as the Walter Shorenstein Fellow, Stelzer will convene a series of discussions about threats to democracy and the range of potential responses from the media. These discussions with media leaders, policymakers, politicians, Kennedy School students, fellows, and faculty will help design public and scholarly understanding of the current state of the information ecosystem and its impacts on democratic governance. That's some smart stuff. That's some really smart stuff. So this guy apparently is going to, well, I don't know, tell us the threats to democracy. Cool. Good for him. Also yesterday, when in doubt, spout about Cap, baby. We saw it yesterday 2 times. We saw actually 3 times. There's a former Colts or a Cowboys wide receiver named Drew Pearson. He was really good. He was really good, Drew Pearson was. You know what Drew Pearson did? He came out and said, well, Cowboys need to sign Cap. They need to sign Cap. Let's sign Cap. Yeah, we do. Let's sign Cap. Why are we signing Cap? Cap had tryouts. Nobody signed Cap. Well, that's political. Really? Stephen A. Smith came out and said the Cowboys were too patriotic to sign Cap. What does that mean? When in doubt, baby, when you are just trying, you're not really wanting to dip your feet in because it'll hurt your money, it'll hurt your career because people will start recognizing you for who you really are. But when you just want to dip in a little, you go with Cap. You do. You got to go with Cap. Cap will set you free, baby. Cap will let you know that you are on the cusp of social justice warrior, but you don't really want to go too far. So Stephen A. Smith addressed it. And then look at old Steph Curry. Good for Steph Curry, man. Steph Curry is figuring it out. Hey, look, I'm trying to find it here because I don't want anybody to get mad at me. Steph Curry, I think we can all agree that he is our favorite NBA player, certainly mine. He had to, ladies and gentlemen, get involved in the political realm. Oops. He had to. He couldn't resist. He calls Donald Trump a threat. Now, Steph Curry just got his degree from, from Davidson. Good for him. I got no problem on speaking out. I don't. Apparently, Steph Curry, when you read about all of this, Steph Curry got scolded by President Obama for saying that the moon landing was fake. The level of stupid out of basketball players is unending, but Steph Curry says, and I'm reading it here, most of his rhetoric before he was president, during his 4 years, and even now, if he tries to run again, has a tone of divisiveness that doesn't have a place in our country, he told Rolling Stone. As serious and loud as the threat is of him and whoever else is running for office, there is a similar urgency and a loudness that's necessary on the other side. What does that mean? As serious and loud as the threat is of him and whoever is running for office, there's a similar urgency and loudness that is necessary on the other side. He recognized the beast of politics. And he also recognizes that he could have impact endorsing a candidate. Okay. Well, let me ask you a question. I get that everybody says Donald Trump is divisive. I get it. But what's more divisive of calling a whole group of people deplorable, like Hillary Clinton? What's more divisive of people? You know what MAGA stands for? Make America Great Again. And I get it that message, like Colin Kaepernick's message, has been hijacked. I get it. But I got to tell you, Make America Great Again seems like a pretty good slogan for all Americans. I don't know. What do you want? Make America just have a little breathing room, like Biden says? Is that what you want? I don't know. I have certain beliefs that not everyone vibes with. As long as there's equality in the sense of you having all your protections and your rights as a citizen, that should be a very low bar. Well, who doesn't have all their rights as a citizen? Who's missing out on rights? I mean, you want to vote? Go get an ID and vote. You want to drive a car? Go get an ID and drive a car. You want to buy liquor? Go get an ID and go to the liquor store. Like and reason I say that about liquor stores, I'm 60 years old, and in Indiana, you can't go buy alcohol, liquor, whatever, without an ID. I go to the CVS. They got good prices on wine, Lee, and I like. You know what I got to do at 60? Show an ID. I go to Kroger. I got to show an ID. You want that? Go get an ID and do it. You want to, I don't know. You want to own a business? Go get a loan. How you get a loan? I don't know. Look, I'm not saying the country is fair. It certainly isn't. Some people were born on third base. There's no question. No question. You know, I got lucky. I got born to two great parents that taught me how to be a parent. But I got to tell you, man. Now, you're also supposed to say, if you're Steph Curry, you got to go to Cap, man. He created progress and change. Kaepernick did. He might have. He might have. Kaepernick might have. I don't know. But conversations that I've had with guys like Sean King, once he said that, Sean King, man, that's the guy? That's the white guy that acts African American, that is trying to make money off Tamir Rice's death. That's the biggest fraud in media, and that's his advisor? Good for him, man. Good for him. I'll wait for Steph Curry to talk about LeBron James's tone of divisiveness. Last I look, and this is from an Outkick article, he called Donald Trump a bum. That seems divisive. That does, doesn't it? It does seem divisive. Curry also endorsed Joe Biden. Interesting. I'm not sure Joe Biden hasn't really brought the country together. No. And at the end of this article, he ends up doing what you have to do. You must praise Cap, almighty Cap, genuflect at Cap. This is why I've always said there is no chance Colin Kaepernick ever comes back as a backup quarterback. He's not now. There's nobody in their right minds bringing him back. He's not good enough. But he gets to be a martyr. He gets to walk around, and he is literally Jesus in his own mind. You don't do that as a backup quarterback. And I got to tell you, I kind of bought into Cap. I'm like, this guy seems smart. I ain't mad at what he's doing. I love a good protest. And then I heard him speak, and I'm like, yeah, this ain't the guy. This ain't the guy to follow. I'm sorry, it's not. There are some guys that I listen to speak, and I'm like, that's a guy. There's your guy right there. I heard him speak in his documentary. I listened for about 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. I'm like, nope, ain't the guy. So, but I get it, Steph Curry, to make sure he's down, to make sure that he is a social justice warrior, at least on the track, must reference Kaepernick. Good for him. But it just gives me gas when these libbies, when these media darlings like Curry, and I love Curry, but they talk about how Trump divides the country. I got to tell you, I haven't seen anybody in office for over, a year or two? 2 years now? That has done anything to unite the country other than to call people that don't agree with their political rhetoric names. That's all I've seen. Deplorable, threats, whatever. Try wearing a MAGA hat. See how united that is. I don't think we're getting more united under this regime. I'll tell you one thing I thought we got united under the last regime. Money. 401ks up. We're now at 8.5% inflation. Yeah, we are. We're still there, even though our government will tell us we're not at inflation. Okay. Stock futures way down. We know this. That's how it goes. We understand all of this. We get it, right? We totally get it. But you'll never hear it. You'll never, ever hear it. All you will hear is what you want to hear. This is a this is a uniting group. My answer is where? That's my answer. Where? I don't know. Tell me where everyone's so united. I'll tell you where they were at the Jets game the other day singing the national anthem. That was awesome. But tell me where, every day I look and guys are fighting. You want to see, one of the great follows on Twitter is called Clown Show. Holy cow. I don't know what their background is. I have no idea. I just know that I follow them and they show every stupid thing. Clown world. Everything happening in the world. Guys walking behind people and punching them in the head. Brawls breaking out. Guy right now is trying to mess around with an alligator. It's great stuff. The world is nuts. But don't even try to tell me that Donald Trump or the Republican Party are divisive when I've seen what happens on the other side. Again, I'm dangerous because I actually listen. I'm not quite smart enough yet. I'll get there. But don't even try to tell me that. My God, man. The boss next. I love when the boss comes on. We're going to talk Titans. We're going to talk Colts. We're going to talk should Cap be back. We're going to talk fantasy football where I am rocking and or rolling over everybody. How about Jerry Jeudy last night on my fantasy team? Nice. Very, very nice. Who's the boss, you ask? Shoot. I'll tell you who the boss is. The boss is Clay Thompson or Clay Travis, one of the two. They just told me we got to do a DraftKings ad. Look, $5 gets you $200. How about that? You put $5, new user. You put $5 in. Make a $5 bet, you get $200 in free bets. And if you listen to this show, I'll either triple your money or I'll have that $200 in free bets gone so fast it'll make your skin crawl. But that's what we got. DraftKings is awesome. Go DraftKings.com, download the app. $5, yes, I said $5. Make a $5 bet, you get $200 in free bets. It's pretty good. It's really good. It's fun, too. You'll like it, I promise. Go to DraftKings.com or download the DraftKings app. It's awesome. Be right back. waiting on the boss man, Clay Travis. But let's go back to talking about what happened last night. A lot of people are upset about Nathaniel Hackett's decision to kick a 64-yard field goal at the end of the game when you're paying $235 million for a quarterback. And this is one of the rare times I get both sides. I do. I get both sides. Look, one of the things that I thought was interesting is what Russell Wilson said. Russell Wilson said we got the best field goal kicker maybe in the game. We got there. It didn't go in. I believe in Coach Hackett. I believe in what we're doing. I believe in everything. I don't think it was the wrong decision. See, here's the deal. No matter who is on your television, and this is where we're legendary on our show in Indy and in here, we tell you common sense stuff. Like, I guess I could come on here and rip and race and roar about it, and maybe, I don't know, just maybe that gets better, I don't know, ratings or views or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, as a former coach, I sit here and I go, wait a second, you know your team. The dude was trying to win, by the way. And you always look at guys' eyes. When you're coaching, you look in their eyes and you say, who is ready to do what? And I guarantee you, Nathaniel Hackett, if he's smart, maybe he's not. Maybe he's a buffoon. We'll find out over the years. But Nathaniel Hackett looked at his team and said, you know what, based on what they're doing and how we're going about it, we're not going to get the first down. I know my kicker can make it. I've seen him numerous times make this field goal, and we're going to do that. Now, the easy thing is what Aikman said last night. You're trusting the kicker more than you're trusting Russell Wilson. Yes and no. You are trusting the kicker, but it's not an indictment against Russell Wilson. It's a recognition of what the coach sees, and that can be debated all you want. But I'm just telling you, from a coaching perspective, that's what happened last night. Let me know when you're ready, Dylan, for Clay. I see he's on here. Just let me know when you're ready to go. But the truth of the matter is, the easy thing to say is, well, he's trusting the kicker over Russell Wilson. No, he's not. He's trusting what he sees. He's trusting what he knows the other team is doing. He's trusting what has happened in this game. And he's trusting that his kicker certainly can make it. Now, that's an easy argument that I just made that can be squelched. I get it. And you know what? When people would come at me and say, well, you know, no, you're full of crap. He went with the kicker, not the guy. I'm just telling you from a coaching perspective why he did it. Was it the right decision? Yeah, if he made it. But he didn't make it. It was an odd decision. Very odd. I've never seen it before, I don't think. Tough decision. But the fact of the matter is, that's the one he made. Are we ready for Clay, Dylan?
Yep, good to go.
Hey, Clay, what'd you think last night? Run the clock down. Next thing you know, we're kicking a 64 frickin' yarder.
I thought they should have been ready to go on the 4th and 5 really fast. There would have been, a minute left, if I'm remembering correctly, 50 seconds, whatever it was. They still had 3 timeouts. So if you run a quick play there, go for it on 4th and 5. 4th and 5, you get it, probably half the time-ish, I'm guessing, in an NFL game, maybe higher with a quarterback the quality of Russell Wilson. And then if you don't get it, you still got 3 timeouts. You can still get the ball back potentially to come back the other direction. But I thought settling for the 64-yard field goal did not make sense. I was very surprised. Now, the fact that they did it and let the clock run down, I thought was even more intriguing. Granted, you only leave 20 seconds for your opponent, but the make percentage on the second largest field goal of all time has to be fairly low. Now, he had the distance. But I think the reason why you give Russell Wilson the massive contract that you did is to put the ball in his hands. And so I would have been inclined to go for it on 4th and 5 there.
Yeah, I just talked about it from a coaching perspective.
I heard, yeah.
I'm not. Yeah,
I mean,
look,
the
it's the right
ESPN
decision.
analytics. I don't know if you use this in your argument. I think the best argument you can have is, again, analytics guys. I know a lot of times athletes and coaches want to kick them to the curb. But the analytics guys say that the win percentage was actually higher attempting the 64-yard field goal, 30%, versus going for it on 4th and 5, 29%. You're still, regardless, in that scenario, probably going to be attempting a long field goal. It's just a question of the length of that field goal, right? And obviously, the make percentage of the field goal increases the closer you get to 50 yards, 40 yards, and there on and so forth.
Yeah. I'm not saying that one was right and wrong. It's obviously wrong. They didn't make it. I just given a coaching perspective. I'm telling you, 2 for 41 is what the numbers say on the kick. 57% to your question. Russell Wilson over his career, fourth down is 57%. I've said forever, there are about 5 guys, give me him with the ball late in the game. Wilson is one of those 4 or 5 guys with Brady and Mahomes and Rodgers. I'll take Russell Wilson coming down the field.
Yeah, look, everybody focuses on the end. If you want to focus on fourth down plays, they failed 4th and goal twice when all of the percentages would typically be with you. When you're at 4th and 1, you should always go for it in a goal line situation based on the probabilities, percentage, win percentage, everything there. They twice failed. And not only did they twice fail, they twice fumbled, I believe, in those scenarios. So a lot focusing on the end of game situation. But if I'm sitting back and I'm watching, looking at tape today, as I'm sure both teams are, where I'm looking at the place where the Broncos most squandered their opportunity was in those 2 4th and goal situations that they managed to turn the ball over, not get any points, as opposed to the end of game scenario.
I know what happened to my Colts. It always happens to my Colts first game of the year. They haven't won an opener since 2013 when the Oakland Raiders and Terrell Pryor came into Lucas Oil Stadium. What happened to your Titans?
They couldn't stop the run. I think, look, credit to Saquon Barkley, who appears to be back 100% healthy. We know how dynamic he is. He's the number 3 overall pick for the Giants, hasn't been able to stay healthy. But he looks like he's back to 100%. And the Titans allowed the Giants to rush for over 200 yards. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but when you let an NFL team rush for over 200 yards against you, the chances that you're going to win are really, really low. So the Titans got up 13-0 at the half, gave up a couple of monster plays to effectively get it tied back to 13. I give credit to Brian Daboll for going for it on the 2-point conversion. Titans got to make that field goal. I thought they managed it really poorly down the stretch, blew the timeout there. But in that scenario, when you're up 13-0 at home in the second half with the ball to start the second half, Titans play calling on 3rd and short has been questionable for a while. They blew a couple of drives there with unnecessary hijinks, it appeared to me. I don't know if Derrick Henry's going to ever be back to the same level of back he was last year before the injury. We'll see. He's not there yet. And ultimately, Ryan Tannehill is somewhere around the 14th or 15th best quarterback in the NFL. And the challenge I think that your Colts are going to face and that my Titans are going to face is the AFC is stacked at young quarterbacks, the likes of which we've never seen before. And it's not evenly distributed across both the AFC and the NFC, whether you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. You can just run through a murderer's row now of incredible young talent. I didn't even mention Josh Allen, who I think may be the best of all of them. I mean, that's 5 studs right off the top that I just rattled off, all around 25 or 26 years old. And I don't know, the Matt Ryans of the world, the Ryan Tannehills of the world, if they were in the NFC, I think maybe there's more of a chance there. Russell Wilson, who I didn't even mention, is now in the AFC too. So the lopsided quarterback talent in the AFC is off the charts. How young they are is also the case. And so I feel like the Titans have missed their window. I said it when they lost to the Bengals last year and choked away that home playoff game. It wasn't just that they lost. It was that it felt like a chance to really make a run. They won, 2 straight divisions, lost at home, 2 straight playoff chances, had the one run to the AFC Championship. But I think this group is done in terms of being able to contend for titles. And that was just kind of confirmation of what we saw in New York. I was talking with my boys. I took my 2 youngest boys to the game, Dan. And last year when we were walking back after they choked against the Bengals, there's this walk over the bridge, very solemn, very quiet, where you as a fan just kind of sit there. And I think to myself, like, why am I putting myself through this? Right? Like, it's one thing if you get upset about things you can control. I hate giving other people control over my emotions, and that's what being a fan is. And the older I get, the more disgusted I get by it because in most of my life, the things that I can control go pretty well. I mean, I'm happy. I got healthy kids. I got I think, somewhat happy wife, good career, love what I get to do. And then my team suck. And so I'm having that, morose walk over the bridge, wondering why in the world have I ever put myself in this position where, my team chokes away a playoff. And then, the Bengals bang through whatever it was, like a 52-yard field goal to win that game on the final play of the game. And then, flip back to Sunday, 2 days ago, and the Titans choke away a very makeable field goal to lose on a missed field goal on the flip side. And I'm also angry again after waiting 9 months to be able to do that. So anyway, my point on this, Dan, I remember several years ago on my old Outkick show, I was in Atlanta for the Super Bowl. And I think I'm not sure who was playing in the Atlanta Super Bowl. They all kind of run together. But it was the year after, I believe, the Falcons had choked, or a couple of years after the Falcons had choked away the 28-3 Super Bowl lead over the Patriots. And I had an old guy driving me in an Uber. And, we were talking, and I asked him whether he was a Falcons fan. And he said, nope. And I said, oh, it's interesting. You're just not a big football guy? And he said, no. So I was a big football guy. He said, I retired as a fan after that Super Bowl. He said, I was so disgusted. I was so angry at the Falcons that he said, you retire from work. He said, I do this Uber thing for fun. I'm a, retired guy, 65 plus. But he's like, I like driving around talking to people in the Uber. It gives me a few hours of, something to do. But he said, I just decided, why wouldn't I retire as a fan? He said, the Falcons were taking a lot more from me than they were given. Why would I let them keep doing that? And I thought, that's kind of rational. A part of me is like, I wouldn't mind retiring as a fan either. So that conversation has always stuck with me with that Uber driver that I had down at the Super Bowl down in Atlanta, 3 or 4 years ago.
Two things with that. I went to the Colts-Titans game. My daughter lives in Nashville. My wife, a couple of her friends. We were all Colts fans. We walked right across that damn bridge. And we went right to Kid Rock's place and spent the afternoon at the bar is what we did, because the Colts got beat, and we just said, screw it. We're not, The other thing is this. As a Cubs fan, I get retiring as a fan. I can't. Let me put it to you this way, and it's probably this way with you with the Braves and, maybe Tennessee, I don't know. There are some teams you can't quit. I can't quit the Cubs.
That's the challenge.
Right?
Yeah, I've got two that I'm really all invested in. The University of Tennessee, and I, I've been going to games since I was 5. I don't think that's going to change. And the Titans, look, for the last 20 years. What I would like to know is, the older you get, I'm fortunate because University of Tennessee, we won a championship in '98. Right. I'd love to win a basketball championship at some point. I don't know that it's ever going to happen. Heck, I'd like to just go to the Final Four. I don't know that that's ever going to happen either. But if you get a championship, that's at least some form of validation. You're a Colts fan. You've won a championship. I don't want to root for a team my whole life. You mentioned the Cubs. Lots of people did it, and they never win a championship. Not even one, right? Just one championship. You can feel like, okay, I'm playing a little bit with house money now. I don't, the whole fandom is not in futility. There is a payoff there. I'm 43. I don't feel like I'm ever going to get a payoff on the Titans. And I don't feel like I'm ever going to get a payoff on Tennessee men's basketball. So anyway, I don't know what the resolution is, but you remember that game Tennessee lost in the Sweet 16 to Purdue a few years ago on the foul in the corner on the 3-pointer, and then it went to overtime. I mean, I couldn't sleep after that game for a couple of days. I couldn't sleep for a couple of days after the Bengals loss. I'm way too old to let people that I can't control impact my my emotional well-being. So anyway, I'm working on it. I don't know the solution.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm older than you, and I did this. I did the thing that a lot of people did. My dad, I went to his grave. He never saw Cubs. Put a 6-pack style and a Cubs hat on his grave.
That's a great experience, and that's the thing that is, I think, ultimately the most binding and fun about it is the intergenerational connections. You mentioned your dad. I get to see it now through the eyes of my boys, which is really you can become cynical and jaded as you age in all facets of life. And I think that sort of bright-eyed optimism and excitement of a 10 or 11-year-old kid is really tough to beat. And that's been one of the things that's awesome about, you mentioned the Braves earlier. My boys have really become big baseball fans with the Braves. And I really kind of faded on baseball. I grew up watching the Reds, was a big baseball fan. But I just got so busy. You know, it's hard to keep track of 162 game season, everything else. But the Braves are on every night in my house because of the boys. And it's a lot of fun to see sports now through their eyes. And it's one of the many, gratifying things about, I think, being a dad or a mom who's a sports fan.
Yeah, well, I will tell you what everybody has told you, and I've lived it, man. It goes so freaking fast.
I know.
It just drives me nuts. I remember, we'd go to Cincinnati Cubs game, we'd go to freaking Cleveland because I was in Bowling Green. We'd go to Chicago for the weekend, watch games, the excitement, and next thing you know, it's like. Anyway, yesterday
I try to
we
get them
had
on the
three
road
different.
For that reason. I try to get them on the road with me. I'm on the road all fall. I try to bring them to as many games as I can because I know it's not going to be very far. I've already been making jokes about it, but I've got a freshman in high school. Like, I'm going to be looking around one day at one of these, college towns, and my own boys are going to be there standing, drinking beers with their friends, away at college. So it's only about a decade away, and the last 10 years feels like it passed in the snap of a fingers.
I can remember the day I worked out my son, and I remember he went back to Ohio State, and I thought to myself, this is the last time I'm ever going to work out with him. Next time I'm going to rebound with him. Last time I'm ever going to get his elbow under. I remember it, and I remember going home and just sitting outside and being sad because it's great. Let me go with something.
The reason why I'm on now with you, as we were texting, is I take my kids, my youngest, I get him to school every morning. My second oldest, I make sure he gets on the bus. But for the last, 5-6 years, whatever it's been, I've been walking multiple kids to school. And this was the first year that I've had one kid to take to school. And I'm like, man, he's going to be out of elementary school before long. And then, they're off to middle school and high school. And so I'm trying to make sure that I'm there as much as I can every morning. But it is wild how fast it goes.
I used to take Urban's kids, my kids, every morning to St. Aloysius, and laugh my face off at these little kids and all the little. Every morning, the Urban's kids would come over. We'd get in the car, Gigi and them. And hey, yesterday, not one, not two, but three references to Colin Kaepernick back in the Stephen A. Smith, Drew Pearson, the former Cowboy, and then frickin' Steph Curry. It's like if I want to be seen as a social justice warrior, not too much, but just enough, I got to mention Cap in my world. Is that what we're seeing? What are we doing here?
Oh, he's a clown. Colin Kaepernick is, I don't know how anybody pays attention to him after that Netflix documentary where he turned the slave trade into the NFL draft. As absurdly ridiculous of a historical analogy has ever been made in my life. We could run through the difference between slave auctions and the NFL draft. And, a big difference is it wasn't voluntary. And also, I don't remember any slaves signing multi-million-dollar contracts and choosing to put themselves through professional athletics. And so, look, I think that he is like the mask at this point. He's a symbol of social virtue for people who aren't very smart and don't care about data or analytics or facts. And so when I look around and see somebody wearing a mask at this point, I just think, you poor, pathetic soul, your life must be filled with fear. And I can't imagine living like that personally. And if you are a Colin Kaepernick person, you are so obsessed with victim culture that I can't imagine thinking like that either. See, I believe ultimately what I've tried to do in my life, for better or worse, is believe in the primacy of the individual, which is You are the determining factor of your success or failure, no matter what your race, religion, sexuality is. That's the benefit of living in America today. You are the pilot. You are the captain of your ship, and you will go as far as your own work ethic and aptitudes and talents will take you. I believe that's true. And the other part of that is, as I have gotten older, the thing that I admire the most is fearlessness. And I have tried to, in my life, strip as much fear away from my life as possible. And this, look, I'm middle-aged now, so maybe this is some form of wisdom, but we all know how the story ends, right? Unless one of you out there is thinking, hey, I'm going to be immortal, then we all know how the story ends. We're all going to end up dead and buried and gone, right? Hate to kill everybody's vibe this morning. You know how the story ends. How much fun are you going to have till the end? How much challenge are you going to put into your life? Are you going to be afraid of failure or not? I'm just not. And so when you know how the story ends, you might as well fill the time between now and when the story ends with as much joy, with as much fun, with as much of what you love as is possible. And so I can't imagine being so afraid of death. I'm just not. I'm going to die. And in 200 years, is it going to make a big difference whether I died in 2040 or 2060? Probably not. Nobody's going to care. You know, do you walk around in the funeral in the cemeteries and be like, man, if that guy had lived 4 more years longer, like that would have, his whole life would have been different. I mean, my theory is live as if there aren't going to be a lot more days. You'll be happier. And so I'm not afraid. The whole COVID thing, I think, boiled down basically to risk analysis. I'm afraid for my kids as a parent, but for my own self, I'm not afraid at all. And then the other component of that is, just believe in your own individual ability and don't consider yourself to be a victim. My favorite stat, I try to tell every group of young people that I talk to, Dan, you'll appreciate this. If you graduate high school, if you don't have a kid until you're 25 years old, and if you get married, your rate of poverty in the United States is 0. That doesn't seem like a really difficult aspirational goal. Graduate high school, get married, don't have a kid until you're 25 years old, right? If you can just do those 3 things, I can't guarantee you're going to be rich, but I can guarantee that you're not going to be poor. I don't know why that's like we don't drill that into every kid's head the minute they start kindergarten. Everybody can graduate high school. Everybody can wait to have a kid until they're 25, and everybody can get married. If you can do those 3 things, you will not be poor. Doesn't matter where you start. You can start in a really poor household. Doesn't matter what your race is. Doesn't matter what your orientation is. All those things. Anyway, I just hammer it home to every young group I can because I believe in the power of the individual as opposed to this idea that everybody's a victim.
It's funny. I would add to that, the rate of incarceration and all kind of different things are reliant on fathers. Tony Dungy basically parroted what Barack Obama said a few months ago, and he got absolutely destroyed for saying something that is factually correct that a president of the United States that was liked by the media said earlier. It's unbelievable to me.
Well, look, we have a crisis of manhood, I think, in the country. And I think, it's, you look at where rates of violent crime come from, and they come from young men overwhelmingly. Young women are not behaving in violent fashion, certainly, young men. And they come overwhelmingly from young men without strong fatherly role models or grandfatherly role models or uncle role models, people who are willing to take on that masculine child rearing responsibility. And so it's evidently politically incorrect to point this out. But I think that's partly because, you look at and look, I got 3 boys, so I think about this a lot, but schooling, what percentage of college students are women now? 60%. 60% of all college students, college graduates, I should say, are women. Only 40% of men. If we still had a 60% male graduation rate, we'd be sitting back saying, wait a minute, what's going on that women are not having equal outcomes in education as men? Well, there's a lot of men that never actually, and by the way, who are these women all going to marry? A lot of times these women, one of the big challenges they have is there's not successful men when they're 20s and their 30s for them to want to date, right? There's a lot of loser dudes out there. And I think that's because we got a crisis of masculinity. We got a lot of guys who can't and don't have the tools or the confidence or the success to be able to be heads of households, to be able to be dads, and to be able to be responsible for the kids that they're creating out there. And I think that's one of the main reasons, if you want to talk about systemic issues, for why men are so overwhelmingly violent in the country today.
Clay, I got to run. Thanks for the opportunity, man. Thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. It's fun. Really fun.
Yeah,
Thanks.
always enjoy it. Keep up the good work on the show. Thanks for having me. See y'all.
You got it. That's our boss. That's Clay Travis. That was great stuff. That was fun stuff. We got to end the show. We got to go, but I appreciate Clay. Dylan and Ryan, thank you guys so much for everything today. We're going to be back at it tomorrow. Hall of Fame left tackle Joe Thomas is going to join us right at the start of the show. You can watch me, 107.5 The Fan in Indy, 107.5thefan.com. Thanks, everybody. Have a great, great afternoon and evening.